Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to KPI Lane Thinking. I am your girl, Miss Q, Lady Q, and we have some good topics this evening, this afternoon that I want to share with you or to remind many of you. And it's dealing with the way we think. I often tell some of my clients, you have to stay focused. You have to make sure that your mind is in the game regardless to how you feel. When we talk about lean, we're not just looking at 5S as just a technique. When I talk about continuous improvement as part of my service, I'm not just talking about just coming in and cleaning up. There's a technique that I use, and to be honest, I really want to say that it's an area that I'm gifted in. It's an area that I'm gifted in to help you understand your purpose, your calling, in your location. So it goes beyond the church. A lot of times people think because I'm a pastor that my strengths are just in these four walls. As I have said before, um, I did a show with Minister Tika or Pastor Tika um, Carter, and we was talking about the apostolic and everything. And I was saying, for me, I feel like I am an apostle in the marketplace. So my giftings are not just here in the Christian community, but it is wherever I go. So again, when I talk about continuous improvements, I'm not just again coming in, sweeping and mopping the floors. I'm looking at things. I'm trying to see how can a particular area or a group of people can improve because we all want to improve. At least I would think that you do. So, what does that look like? How do we get to that place of improvement? How do we get to that place to where we are not doing the same thing over and over and over and not being satisfied? I was telling my armor bearer yesterday, we were talking about some stuff, and I was sharing with her some things that you all will hear about later. But if we're not careful, we will live our lives doing our will, somebody else's will, and then we'll decide to pick up God's will. The problem with waiting to the last moment to pick up God's will is that we tend to be up in age when we decide that, life has not been what we thought it was. We don't have all day. Time is moving. And so when it comes to you and your dreams, or when it comes to you and your business, you have to look at it as, I don't know how long I have on this journey. So I have to do whatever it is I believe I am called to do. So with that, your business, you want to improve in every area. There's no business, at least I hope not. There's no business that sit back and say, we're fine. We don't need to improve. Our productivity is XYZ. Nobody's doing that. And if so, then that's a dangerous place to be in. So I want to encourage you to get to that place to where you say, even if I'm doing good, how can I improve? How can I do better? Um, I was making a joke, but I really meant it. It is serious, you know, when we say if we are the smartest person in the room, you need to check your environment because you want somebody to pull you up. You want to be around people that can enhance you, but, pull you up to a higher level of standards and also capabilities. And in order to go that far, you have to want to improve. So, what does that look like? Well, I wrote I'm still dabbling in it, but I started an ebook a couple of years ago called Lean Thinking. And I wanted, for those who are in manufacturing, you understand what lean thinking is. But I believe lean thinking is not just in the manufacturing world, but it can be something that we use in our everyday life, the 5S. So it's not just a 5S, excuse me, 5S is not just a technique. It's much more than that. You have to understand that it is a mindset. It's how you think, As I said, if we're not careful, we will spend the rest of our lives living out somebody else's dream, living out somebody else's plans, living out our own plans, and missing the mark to what is important, or the reason why God called you, the reason why He put those gifts and talents in you. So our attitudes are important. And this is why, as we move forward in this year, I want you as a business owner to think about your attitude, not only your attitude in your business, but when you go to somebody else's business. Um, I was getting a body massage the other day and I tipped the lady $15, and to me, that's nothing because of what she done. She really relaxed me. I gained my focus back. And at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm not just giving her stuff. I'm sewing into her business. I'm sewing into her skills. So how I treat somebody else's stuff is what I'm going to get back in return. So you have to have the right attitude about what it is that you're doing and even what it is that you are part of. All right. So let's talk about some stuff. Let's talk about two sides. Uh, we have two sides that I want us to mention or understand today. You have what's called a hard side, and then you have what's also called the soft side. I do apologize for my voice. Ever since September, and teaching and some other stuff, my voice has been in and out, but I definitely need to preserve it because of what I do. But nevertheless, if it goes in and out, trust me, I'm working on it. Y'all just keep me in prayer. I'm definitely trying to stay hydrated and drink plenty of tea and certain things to keep me going because I need my voice. That's very important. But nevertheless, so again, if you hear my voice sounding a certain way, it's I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Just keep me in prayers. All right. Your most positive prayers. All right. So let's get into it. At KPI, I like to focus on, as I said, continuous improvement. Yes, we offer continuous improvement. We offer business coaching, student coaching, and tutoring. A lot of times I get the bulk of my tutors, excuse me, I get the bulk of my students around report card time. And that's good. But I want to say, even in that capacity, it's important to try to improve throughout the year, not just at crunch time or not just once we get a report. Now, the report does show us the areas that we need to make some improvements. So there's nothing wrong with that. The report card to me is just data. It just, to me, the parents, the teacher, it just shows us where we at and where we need to get to. So when we talk about continuous improvement, we're talking about how can I improve where I'm at. So again, we have what we call two sides. You have what's called a hard side, and you have what's called a soft side. The hard side deals with the continuous flow or the JIT, or what we call just in time. It's the standard work, it's how we design a system. And before I realized that I love continuous improvement. I love helping people. I found myself just fixing things or solving problems. I'm not an artist. I'm not an engineer, but I will always create a design because I'm an expert. Anything that you do, anything you put your hands to, you are now an expert to it. And this is why when you own your business, you have to own your stuff. You cannot allow anybody to say, oh, you're not going to make it. No, if you have 20 years in the game, it doesn't matter if you've been working for somebody else. You are an expert. And an expert is a person who is hands on, who has been touching a thing. So when we talk about hard side, this is what we're looking at, just in time. So a lot of my logo is going to be dealing with the manufacturing, but trust me, I'm going to bring it along or bring it around to fit your situation. It doesn't matter whether you are a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home father, um, if you just start out in your business, if you've been doing business for X amount of years, if you are just an everyday worker, it doesn't matter. This will fit you. It fits students. It helps students. And I tell people all the time, I'm not the smartest one in the room. Okay. But I do believe I am smart. But what I do is in the midst of all of that, I try to find an area that I can improve on while there's other people who's trying to shine. I look at the weak areas, or I look at those that people don't want to touch. And I use my gifts to bring life to it, because when you know who you are and you know your skills, it doesn't matter about the environment. That's why I try to tell people, normally, whatever you do in the natural is who you are in the spirit. So for those who are saying, well, I don't know who I am in God, I don't know who I am or what I'm supposed to be doing in ministry. Well, look around and see what you're doing in the natural. All right. All right. But anyway, as I was saying, lean thinking is a mindset. It is a behavior that one adopts. Okay. And the reason why some companies never master this is because they don't understand that in order for me to master such a thing, I have to look at my culture. What is the culture? I have to look at what is going on in my environment. Okay. So remember, there's a difference between a climate and a culture of an organization. When you are starting your business, or if you're running your business, I don't care how small it may be in somebody else's eyes. I don't care if it's just a hobby right now. You have to identify your culture and your climate. The culture is what's been adopted, okay, by the employees, okay? Normally, they say stuff like it takes 5 years to establish a culture, but it really doesn't. It doesn't have to take that long. You can bring in a brand new person, change out headship, change out leadership, changing the leaders or the guards. You know, you can change those folks out. But if the rest of the employees are thinking as previous, nothing is going to change. So the culture is what is, all right? Not what can be, but what is. And oftentimes there is a lot of work, even with kids. If a child thinks that they can't learn and they don't have anybody pushing them to encourage them, then their culture is going to be, or their attitude is going to be, I can't learn. What's the point? So when you think of lean thinking, you are creating something with few resources. Okay. You are trying to prevent waste of the mind, waste of laziness, waste of negative thinking. Okay. Or what I like to say, reduce to produce. In order to produce some things, you have to change the way that you think. And it starts with each employee, and it starts with each child. I tell parents, listen, you may want me to teach or tutor your kid, but if your kid is not ready, if your kid is not ready to produce, they're not going to learn. They're not going to change their culture. All right. So we have to be honest. Some people, they just don't want to change. I think I think it's more like people are afraid to change, because if they change, they may lose some people. They may maybe lose their friends, you know? They may not understand, what does this mean if I make some changes, if I start thinking, if I start reading more, if I start putting myself in an environment that's different from the way I was brought up. But why would you question, or why would you think that if I change for the better, then I'm going to be unlikable? Why would you think that? Or if I change for the better, I may lose friends. Well, you may lose some, but think about those who you may gain, you know? And I feel like that's what's up, you know? That's what you want. You want to gain, especially if you're trying to promote yourself in a better way. If you're trying to build yourself in a business, you have to get around business minded people. And if you're around people who are saying that's too risky, or it'll never work because they have never seen it work, or they have never been driven, to certain things, you don't want to be around them people, you know? Because I often say, what if You stay where you at, and then later they be like, aha, let me move forward. And then you're stuck and your timing or your doors for opportunities have now shut. Then what? That's a scary feeling. But as we move forward with this lean thinking, I want you to think about your culture. Again, your culture is adopted, if it's in a working environment, it's adopted by the employees, it's adopted by your family. You are, as they say, who you hang with. Your behavior can be structured on that level. And we have to understand that changing the way you think is important because if you don't change, then you will have what's called a faulty thinking. And faulty thinking or the wrong kind of thinking, it keeps you from buying in. Buying into what? Buying into change, buying into the possibilities. What if this business idea does work? What if I make this phone call to this person and they do respond with a yes? See, for so many people, we've heard no so many times that we don't know what yes sounds like. But even if you got to record on your phone, yes, yes, I will do it. Yes, you can book me. Yes, I don't mind paying $150 an hour. Yes, I don't mind paying $45 an hour. Yes, I don't mind paying whatever. Record yourself, practice hearing it, and then learn to accept it. And then once you do that, what you're doing is you're moving all of the faulty thinking away. Those thoughts that make you think that you're not good enough to do things on your own and that you have to depend on other people and their vision. Because that's basically what we're doing. When you work for somebody else, what you're saying, and it's okay. Please don't get me wrong. Just hear what I'm saying. All right. When you work for somebody else, what you're saying is, I don't mind working for another person's vision. I don't mind sweating for your dreams. I don't mind losing sleep for your hopes. I don't mind getting stressed out for what you believe in. When I get clients and they come to me and they're saying, Q, I have all these ideas. I don't know where to start. I like to say, start with something. I tell them, just start with something. It doesn't matter. Time. It doesn't matter where you start. Just start with something. It doesn't matter if it looks like what somebody else is doing. Do you know how many coaches there are now? Do you know how many consultants there are now? I remember when I started coaching, I was at Liberty University. And at the time, it wasn't even offered as a degree. It was just, matter of fact, I got my minor before I got my major, you know, and that's what I got my minor in was life coaching. And I never forget one of my professors. He said, "Life coach or the thought of a life coach is unpopular right now because people are used to counselors and they're not familiar for what is trending." But I never forget, and this was in 2011. He said, "But watch and see how the field," and that's why he said, "Learn your niche," but the field was going to expand because counseling was going to change. Not that we don't need counseling, but counseling and coaching are two different things. Counseling gets to the root of the matter, whereas coaching, we're supposed to push you. Okay. We don't make the decisions for you. We help you to make the decisions or identify those areas that you need to be pushed in. So if I had stopped, or if I were to stop because there's a lot of people doing what I do, then I would never be the person that God has called me to be. The professor said what was going to happen. He told us, he forewarned us what was going to circulate in the United States. But it's okay. I have friends, I have um, members in my ministry, I have um, just those who I know in the ministry. outside of my church who are in those fields. But it's enough for all of us because we all need to be empowered. I said all that to say, just because you have a thought or an idea and it seems similar to someone else's, don't just stop because you think, oh, well, I'm not going to be successful because I see what they're doing and they're further. No, you may be the one that have that one piece that they don't have. And that's what's so important about having somebody to push you or to help you along your journey, is because we all have missing pieces. It doesn't matter who you are, there's always somebody who can complete your sentence or add another sentence to your paragraph. And those are the ones that you want to put in your life. So for the month of February, I said all that to say this. I am offering, as I do every year, I am offering half off services for my coaching and tutoring services. And I'm doing it half off because of Black History. Well, you may be saying, well, Q, why don't you do it throughout the year? Well, I just don't. Okay. Business is business. But I definitely like to highlight the different Black owned businesses, those that I'm aware of, and say, hey, I'm here for you. For those who come in, my parents who are coming in and want their child to be tutored, this is the time, definitely this month, to get those half off services. Um, I'm the kind of person that believes in sewing in. I love sewing in. I love helping people. And that's what you would get when you connect with me when it comes to KPI. You know, I'm gifted in improvement. I'm gifted in helping you to improve those areas in your life that you need improving on. All right. So I said a lot. I kind of summarized a little bit of stuff from the book and just what we do. But this upcoming Thursday, we will be going live with a new company, a Black owned company. Um, the business called Drink with a Twist. It's a mobile bar. Yeah, mobile bar. And I wanted to showcase them because there's somebody who stepped outside the box, you know, and for those of you who's like turning in your seats and scratching and itching everywhere, they don't just sell alcohol, or they don't sell it rather. They don't just make alcohol. They have mocktails as well. All right. Mocktail as well. All right. So regardless, I love helping companies. I love being that person to say, hey, you can do it. These are the things you may have to look for. These are the things that you can improve on. But I'm going to always go back to here, the mind, the way you think. When I talk from the lean thinking, or the lean, or the continuous improvement capacity, I'm always going to go back to our mind. Yes, when I start talking about the 5S, yes, we want to talk about sorting and shining and all those things that we know that we need to do to improve, but it starts in our mind. You cannot go to a company and say, hey, I'm going to start sorting my area in order to make it nice and clean, and maybe we get some more production out of this area. Now, listen, it won't work. It won't stay that way unless you work on the thinking, work on your employees thinking, work on the way they think. And this is why it is so important that you bring people in to empower your people, not just in church, but on the job. You know, there's enough professional development. I get all of that, right? But bring somebody in to uplift, to empower, to help people see who they are and what they should be doing. And that's the thing, like with KPI, one of the things that I love to do is eliminate waste. One of the ways I talk about when I go into companies is letting them know you have a person here, but their skill talent is over there. Therefore, you need to switch roles if you want to be very productive. Now, if you want to just continue on and things just be what it is, you keep it the way that you have it. But if you want to change, you have to change some things, and eliminating waste is one of them. All right. So, again, there's a lot that I've said today, but I want to encourage you If you are one who is desiring to have your own, step outside. Okay? Step outside the box. Don't be afraid. The worst that can happen is that you fail. Yep, I said it. The worst that can happen is that you fail. But that's just the worst. Okay? I'm sure you have experienced some things in life that felt bad, you know, but you made it. Failing doesn't make you a failure. The only way you can build and grow and go to that next place is that sometimes we do have to fail at something. Then we know what to do the next time around. So, whether this is your second time, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time trying to jump out there in the water, it doesn't matter. Swim. Okay. Don't worry about who's looking at you. Don't worry about who's talking about you. Don't worry about if someone is saying, well, you keep, every time I turn around, you're doing something different. So tell them every time I turn around, you're doing the same thing and you're not changing anything about you. Your results are the same. There's no improvement. At least, at least I have stepped outside the box. Okay. All right. I want to share that. So on Thursday, we will come and interview and just have fun, with this new couple. I'm going to be spotlighting and or heading um, some other people, some other people who I think is going to do great in their business, and encourage somebody. Okay, just because you don't have a desire to do it, or just because you're not doing it, doesn't mean that you can't encourage someone who is bold enough to do it. Okay. All right. So from KPI, I will see you definitely Thursday. I may see you before to give you some nuggets because we want to start our 5S. I was looking at some of my live feed from last year and it seemed like I'm saying the same thing. So that's a good thing. So we want to definitely keep the pattern going when it comes to building God's people and building you all when it comes to your company. All right. So if you got any questions, you can always reach out to me. My business number is 704-594-2382. Visit my website at kingdomproducers.com and check me out here on Facebook. Send me a message on how I can help you. Don't forget, for this month only, I am I am offering half off for all of my services during the month of February. All right. Well, you have a good one, and I will see you soon. God bless.